Good morning, everybody. My name is Pranav, a legal intern at Lexis and Company for the month of June. And in today's topic, I will be discussing about the contract of guarantee. As per Section 126 of the Indian Contract Act, a contract of guarantee is a contract to perform the promise or discharge the liability of a third person in case of his default. There are three parties in a contract of guarantee who are the surety, the creditor, and the principal debtor. The purpose of a contract of guarantee is to enable a person to get a loan or to obtain some goods on credit. A person comes forward and tells the vendor or supplier that the debtor may be trusted, and in case of his default, he undertakes to be responsible. What are the essentials of a contract of guarantee? Firstly, all the requirements of a valid contract has to be satisfied. Secondly, contract of guarantee is tripartite in nature, meaning that there will be three contracts existing between the surety, principal debtor, and the creditor. These contracts are a contract between the creditor and the principal debtor out of which the debt arises. Contract between the surety and the creditor by which the surety guarantees to pay the principal debtor's debt if he fails to pay. And finally, contract between principal debtor and surety by which the principal debtor undertakes to indemnify the surety if the surety is made to pay on his behalf. The third essential is contracts of guarantee and minor. The parties to the contract of guarantee must be competent to contract. Hence, a minor cannot act as a surety to another person's debt. However, if the principal debtor is a minor and the creditor and surety are majors, that does not affect the validity of the contract of guarantee. In such cases, the surety is regarded as a principal debtor and he will be held personally liable to repay the debt of the minor. The fourth essential is there should be a principal debt. A contract of guarantee will come into existence only when there is a pre-existing debt or an obligation that has to be fulfilled by the principal debtor, and the surety merely undertakes to be liable only if the principal debtor fails to discharge his obligation. Therefore, there must be some other person primarily liable to discharge the obligation other than the surety, and the contract of guarantee is the only collateral to the main contract. The fifth essential is contract of surety should not have been obtained by misrepresentation or concealment. As per Section 142 and Section 143, any guarantee obtained from the surety by means of misrepresentation or concealment of facts which are likely to affect the degree of surety's responsibility is invalid. What are the types of contracts of guarantee? There are two types of contracts of guarantee. Firstly, the specific guarantee. It is a guarantee which is given for a single transaction or debt. Such guarantee comes to an end when the guaranteed debt is duly discharged by the principal debtor. The guarantor or the surety will not be liable for any fresh debt or transaction. It cannot be revoked. Second type is the continuing guarantee. When the guarantee extends to the series of separate or distinct transactions or debts between them, creditor and principal debtor over a certain period of time, it is called as a continuing guarantee or a running guarantee. In this, the surety's liability is not only limited to the original transaction, but it also extends to the subsequent transactions. Rights of a surety. There are three rights of a surety, mainly against the principal debtor, creditor, and co-surety. Firstly, right of surety against principal debtor. This is again classified into right to subrogation. Subrogation may be defined as substitution of one person for another. If the principal debtor makes a default and the surety has paid off the debt on his behalf, then the surety acquires all the rights which the creditor has against its principal debtor. In other words, surety steps into the shoes of the creditor and he can recover all that which he would have previously been recovered by the creditor. Right of indemnity. The term indemnity means compensation. When the surety has paid the loan or discharged the obligation of the principal debtor, he becomes entitled to recover from the principal debtor whatever amount he has paid under the guarantee. Therefore, there is an implied promise by the principal debtor to indemnify his surety. Second right is right against the creditor. This is again classified into right to request the creditor to sue the debtor first. After the payment of the guaranteed debt becomes due and before the surety is called upon to pay, the surety can request the creditor to ask the principal debtor to pay the money first. Right to set off. The term set off may be defined as a counterclaim or deduction from the loan amount. Thus, on being sued by the creditor, the surety can claim any set off or counterclaim which the debtor has against the creditor. Third one is right to securities held by the creditor. The surety is entitled to the benefits of the securities held by the creditor at the time of making of the contract. This will be available only on paying the guaranteed debt. And again, right to subrogation, which is same as mentioned above. Right to demand of the termination of services. In case of any fidelity guarantee, that is a guarantee regarding the good conduct or honesty of an employee, the surety can demand the employer to terminate the services of the employee whose honesty he has guaranteed, if in the case the employer is proved if in case the employee is proved to be dishonest. And the third right is right of surety against co-sureties. When two or more persons stand as surety for a single debt, they are called as co-sureties. This is again classified into right to contribution. Co-sureties are liable to contribute equally towards the discharge of the guaranteed debt. In case if one of the sureties is compelled to pay the whole debt, he can claim equal contributions from the other co-sureties. Right to the benefits of the securities. If a co-surety receives any security from the principal debtor, or if he receives from the creditor any security on the payment of debt, all the co-sureties are entitled to share the benefits of the security. And lastly, release of one co-surety. Release by the creditor of one co-surety does not discharge the liability of the other co-sureties. Moving on to the next topic, that is the discharge of surety from liability. A surety is said to be discharged from liability when his liability under the contract comes to an end. Following are the different modes of discharge. Firstly, discharge by revocation. Again, further divided into by notice. A specific guarantee cannot be revoked by the surety, but a continuing guarantee can be revoked by the surety at any time as to the future transaction by giving a notice of revocation. Hence, the surety is discharged from his liability with respect to the future transactions. However, the surety remains liable for the transactions made prior to the revocation notice. Death of the surety. Death of the surety operates as a revocation to the future transactions and his estate will not be liable for it, but the surety's estate will be liable for the past transactions. By novation. A contract of guarantee is revoked by novation, that is, substitution of a new contract of guarantee for an old one either between the same parties or different parties, and hence surety will be discharged from his liability with respect to the original contract of guarantee. Second mode of discharge is discharge by the conduct of the creditor. Variation in the terms of the contract. In case of both specific and continuing guarantee, a surety is discharged from his liability if, without the consent of the surety, the terms of the original contract between the creditor and the principal debtor have been altered. By release of the principal debtor. If a contract between the creditor and the principal debtor is released from his liability, the surety's liability being collateral to the main contract will also come to an end. By composition with the principal debtor. If the creditor, without consent of the surety, makes some changes or arrangements with the principal debtor for some concession or promises to repay the loan or not to sue him when he fails to repay, the surety will be discharged. Creditor's act or omission impairing surety's remedy. Surety is discharged if the creditor fails to do any act as promised or does any act which is inconsistent with the contract due to which the remedy of the surety is impaired. And finally, loss of security. If the creditor loses the securities of the principal debtor obtained by him at the time of entering into the contract without the consent of the surety will be discharged from his liability. But the loss must be due to negligence of the creditor and not due to an act of God. And the third mode of discharge is discharge by invalidation of contract. First, this is again subclassified into consent of the surety is obtained by misrepresentation or concealment of material facts. Secondly, failure to add co-sureties, where a person gives guarantee on the condition that the creditor shall not act upon it until another person has joined as a co-surety, the contract becomes invalid and the surety is discharged from its liability if the other party fails to join as a co-surety. And finally, absence of the essential elements of a valid contract. Moving on to the next topic, that is the nature of surety's liability. There are three conditions for this. There are three conditions. Firstly, surety's liability is coextensive with that of the principal debtor. This means that the liability of the surety is same as that of the liability of the principal debtor. What amount the creditor can legally realize from the principal debtor, including interest, damages, etc., can be recovered from the surety. Second nature is the liability can be limited. The principle that the surety's liability is coextensive and is applicable only when the surety undertakes to guarantee the surety can limit his liability to a fixed amount and he will not be liable for more than the amount fixed by him. And the last nature is liability is contingent. Liability of the surety is contingent upon the default of the principal debtor and not before. This comes to the end of today's topic. Thank you all.